This episode is brought to you by my clothing brand, Son of Man. You can go check it out. Season 2, we just launched it through the show notes in the description, or go to sonofmanskate.co.nz and check it out. Hey guys, just quickly before we get into this podcast, I want to thank you so much for checking it out. If you could help me out though, I've been working really hard on this, and it would mean a lot to me if you could go and leave a 5-star review wherever you're listening to this, whether it be on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or any of the other podcasting platforms. If you could leave a review, that would be absolutely amazing and mean the world to me. So go do that if you can, and anyway, let's get straight into the podcast. Hey, what is going on, everybody, and welcome back. We are now up to episode number 7 of the Son of Man podcast. This is now like the third full week or so of uploading podcasts, and so far it's going so good. I'm enjoying it. It's actually probably one of my favorite mediums, if that's the right word, but favorite types of content that I make. I do a whole bunch of stuff, and probably, to be honest, podcasting's probably been my favorite one so far that I've started doing. And I don't know if I expected that, but I think I just like how I can kind of just chill, kind of just have a yarn. It's therapeutic, might be a bit of a stretch, but it's just nice to come and just chill out. I don't need to worry about what I'm wearing because I'm not recording on video. I've considered doing that, and I think that would definitely happen in the future. And then we could also do a whole bunch of stuff. We could live stream it. We could do all that sort of stuff in the future. But at the moment, I'm just enjoying just sitting down and just chilling out and just having a yarn. But obviously, you've already read the title. But today's episode is going to be about the 3 biggest mistakes I've made running Son of Man. And this is mainly about stuff that I wish, if I was to do this again, these are 3 things I do differently. Some stuff specific about clothing brands, some stuff might just help you in business in general if that's what you're interested in. But I think this is probably one of the best ways to learn about business if you're trying to get into it. Just see all the mistakes that people make, because there's a lot of them, and I think that's probably the best way to learn. So anyway, without further ado, let's just go straight into it. And the first one is being not creating a good product to start with. For some reason, I have this irrational love of creating the products myself, and I don't know where that came from. I think because that's what I want to do long term, and that's definitely still a long term goal, but I think it wasn't smart to do when you're starting a new brand, because it requires a whole lot of capital investment, and it was too expensive and just wasn't smart. So I started off with just iron-on prints. For some reason I thought that was a good idea. I didn't think it was going to work actually. I think I kind of just went and tested it because they're kind of cheap. So basically you just go down to your old not DIY, but your like sort of arty crafty store, and you'll usually find these like iron-on transfers that you can transfer anything onto shirts. And the reason why I even bothered testing this is because the best way to do it is screen printing, right? That's like your classic how clothes are printed. But the thing is with those is you can only print one color at a time because of how it works. And so, I mean, you can get it so it looks like you can get basically every color in with just 4 colors. But that's actually quite expensive to do and tricky to do. And I wanted to do that at home. And you have to line up all the screens so they perfectly align with each other. And screen printing was basically ruled out from the start to do DIY because it would have been real tricky. Real expensive to get into, especially doing it from home with like multicolored designs. So if you're just doing a one color design, it's actually not too hard. But with what I wanted to do, it's not really working, which is another mistake I'll talk about. But that's why I wanted to look at these iron-on designs, because it was just how easy it was. I thought it was going to be crap quality, and it was. They just kind of just they just cracked straight away basically as soon as you wash it. And also I didn't have a big enough printer to print the designs that I wanted to. But yeah, obviously the iron-on just didn't really work. There isn't a product that I would feel comfortable selling. So we moved on to more of a heat press. So instead of just using an iron, I actually bought a full-on heat press, which is what we used for our season 1 collection. And it was actually alright. The shirts will last a long time. I got the transfers from this company in the States, but the problem was, like, per item they were super cheap. Probably like $1 max, and then if you chuck on the cost of a shirt, it's actually pretty cheap, and that's alright. But you had to buy them in mad bulk, and shipping was a lot as well, just because it's coming over from the States. But I got a whole lot of designs, and it cost me like just under I reckon it was probably just under 1,000. And thinking about that, I'm like, why on earth would I even do that? But that's what I decided I would do, because again I had this irrational love of just I wanted to make the shirts myself, which again long term that's cool, but when you're starting, it's the dumbass thing to think. Unless your designs are simpler, then it is definitely possible. But with what I wanted to do, it just wasn't working. So I got those over from the States, and obviously because it was so much money, they also taxed it on the import fees, so I had to pay even more, a couple $100 on import fees to get them into the country, which is just even more money. And then I probably spent about $500 on the heat press, which actually I should sell that. I need to write that down. I should probably just sell that heat press because I don't think I'm going to use it to be making anything anytime soon. It's kind of just collecting dust in the garage. So that was a waste of $500 plus all the transfers, which I still got hundreds of them. I don't know. I think they're in some of my drawers. So I just got hundreds of transfers that I'm probably never going to use. But anyway, that's my first mistake. Just not creating a good product. Oh, I forgot what we do now. I just ended up going to an actual screen printing company and getting them made like professionally and embroidered and all that sort of stuff. It's so much better. It would have been cheaper just to do that first up. Like how much? If I didn't buy so many shirts, which is actually the second mistake, but if I just kept it simple, you should just go to an actual professional place. It's so much cheaper and it would have been better quality and all sorts of stuff. But anyway, as I sort of already mentioned, mistake number 2 was too many designs / too much stock. So yeah, I think this was something I mentioned in one of the past podcast episodes, but for both season 1 and season 2, as I already said about season 1, but even in season 2, I obviously didn't really learn my lesson there. I was just way too confident, expecting way more sales that actually happened. I think what I thought was just that, to maximize the chance of someone actually like making a purchase where they jump on the site, I wanted to make sure that there was a design they were like, and the color they like, and in the size they were, and that can get to a lot of shirts real quick. And I do remember talking about this somewhere, but in case you didn't hear it, especially with clothing brands, it's real easy to get your like orders like super high in terms of what you're ordering from the screen printers, because first you start off with a design, which is cool. I probably had a good, I had to cut some designs just because it's actually way too expensive with what the order was going to be. But you start off with a design, and then you choose the different garments, the blank garments that it's going to go on. For example, you could have a long sleeve tee, a normal tee, you got hoodies, you got your muscle tees. What else do I have? I think that's all I have. But I ended up cutting the long sleeves because, as I said, the order was just too big, and there's another thing I had to cut. And then not only that, your different types of garments, then you also go into the different colors of every garment. So, for example, I print all my stuff on AS Color. I think it's the best quality that you can get locally, at least. And so I stuck with AS Color. But then, for once I have the tee selected, you then have to get a different color for that tee. So I have like white ones, black ones, some yellow ones. Also some blue ones. I don't know why, man. I should have just stuck with like a white tee with a black design, and that probably would have been so much easier just to start off with. Just buy 10 t-shirts, sell them off, buy some new shirts. But now I went for all these different colors. Got pink hoodies, got blue tees, got all sorts of stuff, yellow tees. And then not only that, so you have your one design on all the different garments, on all the different colors. And then once you got all of those, you also have to get them in all the different sizes that everyone's going to be. And I couldn't, because I said this order is too big, so I ended up just going, I don't think I got extra smalls. I think I started off at smalls and then going up to extra larges and everything in between. But nothing, I didn't get 2 or 3 or 4 XLs or anything. There's some people who have asked me about them, but nah, I just couldn't invest into it. It's just too expensive. So I decided just to go for the most common ones in the middle, and hope that was going to be good enough. But even if you imagine all of that, you then also have to times it by how many designs you have. And I had a good few. I don't actually know. It's probably like 5 or 6 different designs, and it gets expensive real quick. So I was only ordering 1, 2, maybe 3 at the max. I don't know if I got 3 for anything, but mainly just 1 or 2 of each size and each color and each design. And then it still ended up being like 100 bits of clothing. I'm like, what the hell? Like, where did that come from? So I did cut out the long sleeve. I think I cut out maybe a couple colors just to simplify it a little bit, but I couldn't get it any lower till I got it to, and it's only like a little bit under 100 t-shirts or 100 bits of clothing. And that's just like, looking back, like, I don't know what I was doing with that. Again, if you want to start a clothing brand, get a white t-shirt or a black t-shirt, put a white or a black design on it, and then just get 10 of them or even just 5 of them, sell them out of the back of your car, sell them to your mates, you could maybe even start a website. Or nah, actually, what a lot of people do these days is just start an Instagram account and just sell them through the DMs, which is like maybe a little bit suspect. And I don't know how much I mean, obviously they're legit, but it might be a little bit less trust for the customer there if they don't know you, and if you're not creating any content or that, it might look a little bit sketchy. But yeah, like I would honestly just do that. I'd have so much more money in my bank account right now if that's what I did. But all good. So I had too many designs, so there's too much stock. There's mistake number 2. And I'm going into the third and final mistake number 3. We're talking about Facebook ads. Now, episode number 8, that's going to be coming out 2 days after this one you're listening to, is actually going to be my experiences with Facebook ads. So that's what we're going to be talking about all of next episode. So I'll go more into detail then. So hey, you should subscribe if you want to listen to that one. But I'll give you a quick rundown of Facebook ads and why I spent way too much money. The first thing I think is like there's this notion about testing on Facebook ads. Facebook ads is like just so diverse and there's so many variables and things to it that a lot of people test a whole bunch of different things, and I'm like, okay, cool, I'll just spend a little bit of money. I'll probably lose it. That's cool. I'm going to test some stuff. I just need to find one thing that works, one thing that's profitable, and then you have your winning formula, then you're off to the races. But the thing is, first of all, I didn't really know anything about marketing, customer lifestyle, life cycle, and those sort of processes and how it works, and how stuff about touch points, about how consumer needs to hear about your brand like 7 times before they actually consider making a purchase. All these sort of like basic marketing concepts I didn't really know too well. And I'm actually studying marketing at the moment, but to be honest, I think I'm learning more about marketing just from running a brand than I have actually in any classroom or any lecture theatre. But that's a thought for another day. I just didn't know much about marketing at the time, and so what I would do is basically just have all my product photos of all my clothes and everything, chuck them up on Facebook, target people from there's like the 5 big countries, which are like the less scammiest, most likely to buy sort of countries on Facebook, being United Kingdom, Canada, United States, Australia, New Zealand. For some reason, that's where like the big players, like, oh, not the big, but like stuff you see on YouTube and all the Facebook groups, that's like the big 5 that people talk about. So I target those, I don't know, like 18 to 24 men and females for different products, depending on what the product was, and sort of just test different interests related to Christianity. So like Christian, Bible, church, contemporary Christian music. Those are like some of the go-to interests that I test, and that's fine. But like the problem was I was targeting people who have never heard about me and just putting a product in their face saying, hey, you should buy this. And if you use Facebook, you will know when you see those ads, you just scroll right past them because you're like, I don't know who you are. I'm not giving you my money. Like, shut up. Especially with clothes. If it's like something else that you're actually already looking for that you actually need, for example, like protein powder. If you're already looking for protein powder and an ad pops up with a discount, then that's a different story. But most likely you're not in a desperate need for clothes, especially from like a brand. If you're like in a desperate need, you might go to some cheap ones. But you get what I mean? Like, just by targeting people who have never heard about you with a product and trying to get them to buy from you is basically never going to work, or you have to spend way too much money for you to even come close to making a profit off it. So that's like some mistake. One of the mistakes I made with Facebook ads. As I said, I'm going to be going into more detail in the next episode, so subscribe for that. But anyway, those are the 3 biggest mistakes I've made while trying to run Son of a Man. We're making a lot of progress recently. The last few weeks have been real good. Just with content on all the social media accounts, the podcast is going, it's going well. We've made some sales, we're gaining a little bit of momentum. Maybe this might finally be a season where we have some consistent sales. I'm not sure. We'll see if it'll end or if we'll continue into the future. But really enjoying making all this content, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode. As I see, there'll be a new episode coming out in 2 days time, so make sure to subscribe for that, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Oh, you know what, I forgot to ask for a review. Hey, you guys should leave a review if you enjoyed the episode, and if you're still listening to this, it'd really help me out. This would mean the world to me. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed it, leave a review, that'd be amazing, and I'll catch you in the next podcast episode. Peace out.